Who is the strongest woman in Middle-earth? It's a question that sparks countless debates among fans of Tolkien's legendarium. Some might point to Ian, the fearless warrior who defied the Witch King of Angmar. Others might mention Melian the Maya, a divine being who ruled Doriath with wisdom and grace. But when you truly explore the depths of Tolkien's world, the layers of history, power, sacrifice, and influence, one name rises above them all: Galadriel. She is not just an elven queen. She is not merely the Lady of Lothlorien, cloaked in white and surrounded by golden trees. Galadriel is something far more profound. She is ancient. She is powerful. She is enduring. Imagine this. Long before the rise of Sauron, before the forging of the Rings of Power, before the sun even rose for the first time over Middle-earth, Galadriel walked beneath the light of the two trees in the Undying Lands. Her eyes saw the world in its purest form. Her heart carried the fire of rebellion when she defied the Vala and crossed the sea to Middle-earth. She wasn't a side character in someone else's story. She was the story, but Galadriel's power is not loud. It's not the clash of swords or the roar of dragons. It's subtle. It's the kind of strength that bends but does not break. The kind that listens before it speaks. The kind that can refuse absolute power when it's within reach, as she does when Frodo offers her the One Ring in that moment. When she could have ruled as a queen, beautiful and terrible as the dawn, she chooses instead to remain herself. That choice, that refusal, is perhaps the greatest act of strength in the entire saga. It's easy to take power. It's much harder to walk away from it. And let's not forget, Galadriel bears one of the three elven rings. Her realm is kept safe and untouched while darkness spreads across Middle-earth. She counsels Gandalf. She protects Frodo. She helps set the final pieces of the war against Sauron into motion. She doesn't need a battlefield to win the war. She shapes its outcome from the shadows. Her story spans from the First Age to the dawn of the Fourth. She watches empires fall and rise. She sees Sauron's darkness return again and again. And yet, she endures. Not because she is unshaken, but because she chooses to rise every time when we ask who the strongest woman in Middle-earth is. The answer isn't found in brute force or even divine origin. It's found in wisdom, resilience, mercy, and long memory. Galadriel doesn't just survive Middle-earth's history. She is its living memory. Galadriel, a light before the darkness long before the first stone of Gondor was laid, before hobbits dreamed of the Shire, before Sauron rose as the Lord of the Rings. She was already there. Galadriel, the Lady of Light, the last living memory of a lost age. And if you think Galadriel is simply an elven figure of grace walking among golden trees, then you've only scratched the surface of one of the oldest, most complex, and most powerful characters in Tolkien's entire legendarium. This is the story of Galadriel's legacy, not told merely in battles, but in choices, exile, renunciation, and millennia of wisdom. A legacy that stretches across the ages and directly influences the fate of Middle-earth. The origins of an eternal Queen Galadriel was born in Valinor, the Blessed Realm. Daughter of Finarfin, She belonged to the highest nobility of the Noldor elves. Her Quenya name, Alatariel, meaning maiden crowned with a radiant garland, was given to her by her husband, Celeborn. But the sweetness in that name contrasts with the depth and steel of her soul. Even in her youth, Galadriel drew the attention of the Vala, the angelic beings who govern the world. Tall with long silver golden hair, some say Fëanor was inspired by her hair when crafting the Silmarils. She was beautiful, yes, but there was something more. A longing for lands beyond, for freedom, for a realm of her O-W-N-S-O when Fëanor, her kinsman, rebelled against the Vala and led the Noldor into exile. Galadriel did not hesitate to follow. Not out of pride, like so many others, but from her desire to explore, to shape her own destiny. It was a decision that would forever change her life, and the burdens she would carry. That a journey through the ages. Galadriel did not come to Middle-earth by easy roads. She crossed the Helcarax, the deadly frozen wastes that separated Valinor from Beleriand. Many perished in that journey, but Galadriel endured. Even then, her indomitable will was revealed. She was made of ancient fire, forged in suffering and hope. In the First Age, she lived in Doriath under the protection of Thingol and Melian. From Melian, Amaya, one of the divine Aenir, she learned much about the deep mysteries of Middle-earth. Still, she remained distant from the bloodshed of the Wars of the Jewels, choosing preservation over conquest. When Beleriand was destroyed at the end of the First Age, Galadriel survived again. In the centuries that followed, her influence only grew. She ruled over various elven settlements and eventually took her place as the Lady of Lothlorien, alongside her husband Celeborn. It was there that her power and her purpose reached their peak. Ninya, the Ring of Water in the Second Age, the elves were deceived by Sauron, disguised as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. With his help, the Rings of Power were forged in a region by Celebrimbor and his smiths. But Galadriel, ever wary, suspected him. And when the One Ring was secretly forged in Mount Doom, her fears were confirmed. Galadriel was entrusted with Ninya, the Ring of Water, one of the 3 elven rings. With it, she preserved the beauty and balance of Lothlorien. But Ninya's power wasn't aggressive. It was the power of resistance to time, of preservation, of holding back decay. While the rest of Middle-earth slowly withered, Lothlorien remained untouched, a fragment of a purer age, maintained by Galadriel's will. Wisdom, not where it's easy to mistake power for destruction, flaming swords or crumbling towers. But Galadriel's true power was the opposite. She didn't command armies, but was revered by the most powerful. Gandalf listened to her, Elrond sought her counsel, and even Sauron feared her. During the White Council, it was Galadriel who urged the attack on Dol Guldur to drive out Sauron's shadow. And when the final war of the Third Age approached, she stood as a steadfast sentinel, watching, waiting, guarding what remained of the light. And then came the defining moment of her long journey. The test of the One Ring. When Frodo offered her the One Ring in Lothlorien, he wasn't simply handing her a magical artifact. He was offering her absolute power. She could have taken it. She could have become a queen more terrible and beautiful than anything Arda had ever seen. But she refused, and by refusing, she passed the test. At last, the pride that had brought her across the sea was broken. Her exile was lifted. The West was open to her again, that a legacy that endures after Sauron's fall. Galadriel helped purge the remaining darkness from Dol Guldur. And then, finally, she did what few could do. She departed. She sailed from the shores of Middle-earth with Gandalf, Frodo, Bilbo, and Elrond on the last ship to the Undying Lands. But what she left behind was vast, Lothlorien, more than a kingdom, a sanctuary of light. The elves, deeply shaped by her leadership and vision. History itself, bent by her wisdom, her restraint, her presence. Galadriel represents the very soul of Middle-earth, layered, ancient, wounded by sorrow, but still radiant with hope. She is the union of light and shadow, pride and humility, strength and surrender. Her name will be remembered for as long as the stars shine over the forgotten forests of Arda, because even in the deepest dark, there was someone who never stopped shining.